Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of Fit Trends with Presley Christine. Today I have on someone who I love to death. I stalk your Instagram constantly, Miss Jordan. Go ahead and introduce yourself, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Jordan.
So I was really interested in your story because keto. I've been wanting to do a keto episode for forever, and I've just the Rona and everything else, people get busy and it's so hard to sometimes make the episodes work, but I'm so glad you were able to make it on.
Yeah, for sure. I'm happy to be here.
So how did keto start for you? Like, was it one of those things? Most of the people I know, it started as like I've tried everything and this sounded like too good to be true, and then it ended up being amazing, is usually the story I get from that.
Right. So, actually, by the way, if any of you guys want to find me on Instagram, my handle is Jordan So Keto, all one word. But anyway, so I found keto because, well, back in April 2018, my husband and I got married. And then it was shortly after that I pretty much realized that life was not about me, just me anymore. And upon getting married, we realized we wanted to start a family. And I decided, okay, well, I need to do something about this. I was over 300 pounds and raging hypothyroidism, raging PCOS, barely had a period on my own. And I was just miserable. I was just not having a good time with my life. So I at first started this, we're going to backtrack just a little bit. So like right before I started keto, like the 3 weeks before I said I'm going to do keto, I did a like very like, calorie counting, like super low calorie approach to stuff. Which I did lose a little bit of weight on, but I mean, obviously within those 3 weeks, I was like, this isn't sustainable. I'm already feeling miserable.
Yeah.
So then I was like just doing some research. And I remember one night I just couldn't go to bed. I was up and I was like, I've got to find what it is that is going to work for me. And so I was on YouTube, and you know how sometimes you just go down a rabbit hole on YouTube.
Oh man, that happens to me all the time. You
Yeah.
click that one hashtag and you're like, oh man, it's 2 a.m.
Like, yeah, exactly. This was one of those nights. So I decided, I was like, okay, let me just watch some stuff about keto. I had never heard about keto until literally that evening when I decided to just like stay up on YouTube. And I found Dr. Ken Berry, his video on PCOS and why keto is the best diet for that. And watching that video, I could feel the wheels turning in my head, and I kind of understood, why this works. And once I understood, I mean, obviously I didn't understand everything in that night, but once I kind of got the concept of it, I was like, okay, well, this is probably going to be better than nothing, right? So I was like, I'm just going to go ahead and do this. So, yeah, I went ahead and I started keto, and within 10 months of doing keto, I lost 110 pounds.
Man, that's
And
crazy.
I went from having a very sporadic period, which is really common with women who have a combination of hypothyroid and PCOS. I would have a period like every 1 month, maybe like every 2 or 3 months. Like I could never predict it. But now, probably after the point that I lost about 50 to 60 pounds and then kept going, I've had a period every 28 to 30 days, which has been, I think, I mean, even a bigger blessing than obviously losing the weight.
Well, yeah,
But
especially saying when you were saying you are looking to start a family. I know tracking that fertility chart and stuff is helpful because that's what I had to do when
mm-hmm.
I had 2 miscarriages before I had my twins, and so I started tracking it, and I was in the process of losing weight when I got pregnant, like, which is always how it works. I had lost 15 pounds and then they're like, oh, it's twins. Oh, and by the way, the average weight gain is about 50 pounds. And I was like, excuse me?
But I'm so sorry about your miscarriage, by the way. I can't even imagine how hard that is. Um, but my journey is not over at this moment. So right now we are working with doctors and stuff, and we are figuring out what needs to be done for me, because and this is where it kind of gets emotional for me, but like everything that I have done leading up until this point has been for the purpose of having a baby, or just us having children,
Yeah, I
and
feel that.
I've never, I've never been pregnant, never had a miscarriage, never anything. So it's just one of those things that we're working on it. But I feel like I've done so much more legwork getting my health back than, if I had stayed 300 plus pounds and then tried to go ahead and, move forward with doing some sort of, fertility care. So,
And it is possible, man. I have my best friend since high school. She just had her son about a week ago, and she has PCOS, and
mm-hmm,
she had to lose a bunch of weight. She was trying all this stuff, and they had her on all these crazy diets.
mm-hmm.
And they finally found, I don't remember exactly the name, it was some medication. And legit, she took this pill, and a month later took a positive pregnancy test. And I was like, hell yeah.
That's awesome. That's
So,
awesome.
it happens when the time is right for you. It'll definitely happen. Trust me. I know that struggle and that feeling like, okay, I got to do something, and why isn't it happening? And it's really emotional and it's really tough, but it does happen. And now I got two little blessings, and their pain, man. Newborn twins is rough.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But I look back. I actually, crazy to think, today on Facebook actually was the 2-year anniversary of the day I posted about my first miscarriage. So I was like, oh man, what crazy. You never know.
Time
It'll
flies.
happen when it's ready. But so for people who don't understand what keto is, it's like, what would be the dummy way to explain it? You almost trick your body into burning fat.
Well, so here's the thing, and here's the common misconceptions I think that people get about it is you're not tricking your body into burning fat. You're going into fat burning mode when you start doing a ketogenic diet. So, you're going to see so much information out there. It's one of those buzzwords right now. You see
Oh,
keto,
yeah.
and everyone's all like, oh, you got to eat a bunch of fat and, all this stuff. To put it in simple terms, and the way that I've had the most success with it is you need to focus on fatty meat. Fatty meat is going to be your main source of nutrition. And then you can add some veggies and add some other kind of fats along with that. So say, for instance, for dinner tonight, I'm planning on having some burger patties, right? 80-20 burger patties, maybe like one or two of them, probably two. I usually get pretty hungry for dinner. I'll probably have so I got my meat, right? That's my main focus of my meals. And then I'll add some cheese on that. And then I might have like a salad with some ranch dressing, cheese, and some tomatoes and stuff on it, and a little bit of onion maybe. And that's a perfectly delicious, like, super satisfying meal.
It legit made me hungry, you just
You're
describing it. I was like,
welcome. You're
man,
welcome.
salad sounds great.
I'm also a chef too, so I've got that working for me. But
oh man, I'm jealous.
so basically, like, I think what a lot of people think is that they have to like constantly be eating fat. No, you don't have to do that. The easiest way to do it is to just focus on a fatty meat protein, right? So like you can do some brisket. You could even like, have a leaner steak, right? Or like a piece of chicken breast, but just add a little fat to it. Just to make it satiating for you. Fat is good for your hormones. It's good for, reproductive health, like we're talking about. It's good for, brain function, cognitive function. Like, don't be afraid to add fat. But where I think a lot of people get caught up, and I already know some of your viewers might not like me for saying this, but um, so what I always tell people is do not count net carbs. Net carbs is, for lack of a better term, like reindeer games, right? So basically your body, so net carbs is where you take the total carb count and you subtract any dietary fiber and then any sugar alcohols, right? And then you get your net carb count. So The issue with that is that say you have one of these bars, one of these keto bars, right? And it's got like 30 grams of carbohydrates in it, but then it's claiming it has 1 net gram of carbohydrates in it, right? So what's happening with the other 29 grams of carbohydrates? Where did they go?
Just poofed,
right? Like what? Like so my body automatically knows to not use that. That's not the case. So basically, what I tell people is you need to focus on keeping your carb count between 20 and 30 total carbs a day. And when I tell people that, what I mean is the total carbs for what you are eating. Don't subtract anything from it. That's what you're eating.
So doing it like the real way, not mixing in all this added math.
Exactly.
Just be simple is key.
Exactly. And so what I tell people, you know what, honestly, I did fail algebra in high school. So like for me, like math is my nemesis. So for me, it's so much easier to just keep it simple. Keep any carbohydrates that I have are coming from vegetables and some berries. When I'm being really good. I'm gonna quote that there. When I'm being really good, it's coming from vegetables and a little bit of berries, maybe some cheese and stuff in there. But yeah. So
I love vegetables.
Yeah, me too.
I didn't realize until I looked into the keto diet. I didn't realize how much stuff I loved had carbs. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm a carber.
It sucks.
And I don't even feel like a carb because you think carbs and you think like pasta, bread.
Right.
And I'm like, see, I don't really eat those. But then I'm like, bananas have carbs?
Yep, bananas have carbs. Yep.
So when you dive into that rabbit hole, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I like more carbs than I thought I did.
Yeah. It takes a lot of people a while to figure that out once they I mean, so the thing is that a lot of people, they'll start keto, right? And they'll be counting their net carbs and they're eating, just really old school way of thinking, 6 meals a day, counting their net carbs, stuff like that. And then they're like, well, I'm not losing any weight. And I'm like, well, I mean, we could get even further down this rabbit hole, but I'm going to stop when I finish this part. But basically, if you eat 6 meals a day, you're spiking your insulin 6 times during the day. And so the less times during the day you can spike your insulin, the better. So if you're eating 6 meals a day and counting net carbs and you're not having any success, what I would suggest is eat 3 meals a day, right? And count total carbs. And I guarantee you will start to feel and notice a difference, not only on the scale is not the most important thing, but also your clothes and your cognitive function. You will start to feel better. So, yeah.
That's awesome. See, one of the things I heard about, and I want to know if this is true or not, the keto flu. Now, is that really a thing? Like the first week or so, are you like kind of in like a whoa?
So, yes, it is true, and I went through it. But what I think is not talked about is the fact that it's not actually a keto flu because you're not, because of, your electrolytes being flushed out and everything. That is a part of it, but that is not the main part of it. What people go through when they say they feel like crap switching over to keto is because you're going through carbohydrate withdrawals. So all of a sudden, you're eating, 300 grams of carbohydrates a day. And if you're doing keto, I think in the correct way, and you're keeping your carbohydrates anywhere from like 20 to 30 carbs a day, your body's going to go through, a little bit of a shitty feeling for about a week, maybe a week and a half. I remember for me, it lasted about a week and a half, where but it came more in the form of I just didn't have any energy, and so once I kind of pushed through that and then looked up a little bit more, just some like generic research on like what are some basic electrolytes I can get in my system, like pink Himalayan salt, no salt, which is just potassium, and then a magnesium supplement. If you can just like, you don't even have to get like specific kinds. If you just start with that and make sure that you are seasoning your food well with pink Himalayan salt, and then make sure to get some potassium and magnesium in your day, it's going to help. It's not going to cure everything. But yeah, keto flu is actually just carb withdrawal. No
So
one
it's
really
kind of
talks
just your
about that.
body going through like any type of withdrawal. When you cut out sodas or you cut out this or
Yes.
that, you got that first week or two where you got to get through the cravings.
Right, where life just sucks and you got to get through these cravings and there's no end in sight, you know what I mean? Like it's that kind of feeling like you're like, how can I make it to tomorrow? How can I make it to the next day? And that's exactly what keto flu is. It is a carbohydrate withdrawal. And
And you know what's so crazy about that is it's your body, but I've noticed mental plays a lot into that because like you mentally get into habits of stuff. And so a lot of whenever you do any type of lifestyle change, especially with eating, I've noticed it's like that first 2 weeks that is always the hardest.
yes,
And it's usually a mental thing. Like you have to break your habits of going after these certain things, these certain foods, these certain drinks,
absolutely.
feeling like a meal isn't complete without this or that. It's weird how your brain plays into it a lot, and you can almost convince yourself like, oh, I feel crappy because I haven't had this, so I need to have it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, so I know for me, for the first 2 weeks, I think the first 2 weeks when you make any like big dietary change or big dietary lifestyle change, like going from the standard American diet to a keto low carb diet, I think, when you make that big of a change, you're gonna have some symptoms and there's gonna be this mental block to really try to push through. What I tell people there is to just really have your why. And when it gets really hard and you feel like, screw this, I just want to say, whatever, my diet doesn't matter, whatever. Um, I tell people to really remember your why and remember why you want this, why you want to do this. Why is this important to you? And it's more than, oh, I want to look good in a swimsuit. It's more than, oh, I want to lose weight for a vacation. It's more than that. And I think once you really get to the emotional root of like why this needs to happen and why this is important to you, I notice people have a lot more success that way. And when they really stick closely to their why, I notice that people have an easier time with this.
Oh yeah, for sure. I know you don't think about the emotional aspects of eating until you're kind of in the thick of it, and then you're like, oh, well,
Yep.
maybe. So I was
Exactly.
actually looking online just to give some of the ladies out there. I found a thing that said the top 5 keto benefits for women.
Mm-hmm.
And it said it eliminates the blood sugar highs and lows, which you mentioned. You already mentioned most of this. Helps
Yeah.
optimize your brain function.
Mm-hmm.
Balances hormones. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
for better sex and fertility. So you're not just going to get pregnant, you're going to enjoy getting pregnant.
Yes. Yes.
Gain better overall health from increased nutrients.
Mm-hmm.
And become better in tune with your body.
Yeah,
So I
absolutely.
guess you start to, when you dig into the, like you said, that rabbit hole, you start to understand how the body functions a lot more, like what brings the body into ketosis and how it's working and why it's working, and you become better understood.
Exactly. Yep. Um, yeah. I mean, well, the one I was going to comment on is the blood sugar balance. That's for all humans. That's not just for women.
What's your
let's that's for everybody. But the blood sugar thing, especially with women who have PCOS, that is a huge thing because if you have PCOS, you are like, I think 10 times more likely to develop type 2 diabetes than any other woman, I think, at that rate. No one quote me on this. I'm not a professional, but I will say that, if it's safe to say and it's safe to think of PCOS as a type 2 diabetes of the ovaries. And once you kind of think about it like that, it kind of makes it more serious because what happens when we have type 2 diabetes? We lose limbs. We can,
lose your eyesight, all
right,
kinds
lose
of
your
stuff.
eyesight. Like there's so many scary things that happen with that. So it's like, okay, this isn't funny anymore. Let's just, I'd rather not eat the carbs and, live a long, healthy life. So.
I mean, it does some crazy stuff too. Like when I was digging into the rabbit hole to get ready for this episode, it was stuff from as small as helping acne to as big as could reduce certain cancers.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, so there's so many different like subsets of keto, and like the one that you'll hear the most about, like with children's seizures back in like the early 1900s and stuff, that was mainly like so they're giving these kids like canola oil.
Oof.
And that's like 80% of their diet. And of course, if you give somebody 80% of fat, their brain is going to calm down because your brain is made of fat. But it's just, canola
Eating
oil.
a bunch of oil can't really be good for you.
No, eating canola oil especially is, not good for you. So, I mean, there's a lot of arguments to be made about the exact benefits of everything, and is it good for long term? It's absolutely fine for long term. It's a more appropriate human diet than I think people realize, and I think a lot of people try to hate on it because it's such a buzzword right now. But I think
it's like a thing right now.
Right. And I think what we're realizing is that it works for a reason, because your body doesn't run on carbohydrates. Like if you strategically use carbohydrates for energy and for like performance, that's one thing. But if you're constantly eating carbohydrates throughout the day, and like, and
just because they taste good and you want them,
right? Exactly. If you're doing it for that reason, then that's when you're going to start running into a whole lot of issues. But I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like I can hear people saying, "Well, you said this, but didn't say this," so I'm just gonna like calm down on that part right now. But I think you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and whatever weight loss works for you works for you. But
yeah,
I think what's cool about the keto and what attracted a lot of people to it is that it doesn't take a whole lot of work. There's not a whole lot of counting. There's not a whole lot of like, you got to starve yourself. It's a pretty simple, like, meat, veggie, like, keep it this or that, and there's not a whole lot of frills. So it's easy for the average person who's got a busy lifestyle to still do it.
Exactly. And keto is very easy. I mean, at least for me. I would say for the average person starting keto, I would say track everything you eat for the first 3 months. And the reason why I say that is because if we're coming from the standard American diet or a very carbohydrate heavy diet, we're not really too aware of exactly what we're eating. And like I said, if we're trying to keep our carbohydrate intake from 20 to 30 total carbs a day, you got to start counting stuff. And it just kind of helps you to have a guide to know exactly what you're taking in. And I think that's a smart thing to do. Another thing I would say is, for especially if someone is super overweight like I would say to start measuring your blood sugar, just to see how your body is responding to certain meals or certain carbohydrates, if you're choosing to eat certain carbohydrates within your carbohydrate allotment for the day. Those are two really important things I would say people should do starting out. But like long term, am I taking my blood sugar every day? No. Am I counting my carbohydrates every single day? No. I generally know how much I'm taking in and generally know how my body's going to respond to certain things. You see what I mean?
Yeah, you learn the knowledge. And like I said, that's one of the great things about if tracking it those first few months is you learn, like I said, like with me, bananas. I didn't know banana was a carb.
Yeah.
You learn things that you didn't know. You don't think of certain things as carbs, like certain fruits, certain vegetables. You wouldn't. Right. You just equate it in your mind. Okay, it's a veggie. It should be fine.
Right.
But not all veggies are created equal.
Exactly. Yep.
So for the beginners out there, are there any apps that you would suggest to help them out?
Any apps? I would say like the easiest like food tracking app would be MyFitnessPal. It's got a huge database. It's the only one I've ever used consistently. There's Carb Manager. and a couple other ones, and they're pretty okay. I feel like I have more of a user experience issue with those. I just have an easier time with my Fitness Pal. So
yeah, I've used my Fitness Pal, and they have a lot. It makes it really easy because you just like type in the food, and then it like has all the information for you.
Exactly.
It even goes like down into different flavors and everything, which I thought was cool.
Yeah,
I was like, okay.
Makes life super easy, doesn't it?
Which with any weight loss, easy helps, because especially when you're first getting into the thick of it and you're dealing with all the stuff that goes along with it, the cravings, the mental stuff, the preparation, the easier you can make it for yourself, the easier those first couple weeks will be. And then you can get fancier as you go. Like if you want to start doing those fancy keto meals with the feta cheese and this and that, I mean, that's you.
Yep.
But I think especially when you start a lifestyle change, and I like to say lifestyle change. I hate the word diet.
Me too.
Because for me, diet is like, I'm going to do this for a little bit until I lose my weight, and then I'm back to what I was doing before.
Right.
Which is silly, because then you're just going to be right back where you were.
Right. So it's like, what was the point in even doing it? And then you get frustrated, and then you get stuck in that perpetual cycle.
So it's like, you got to find what works for you long term.
Exactly.
Like, if you can do it, if you're someone who can sit there and count calories every day, God bless you. Because
I can't.
No, I can't either. And I get hangry.
Yes, I get hangry too.
I'm like, a handful of nuts. I'm like, this is it?
Right? What's this? Like nothing.
I get really hangry. Like, you do not want to talk to me when I'm hungry.
Me too. And sometimes it catches me by surprise, and I'm like, well, you know what? I think I'm really hangry right now. I'll be right back. Let me go eat a ribeye or something. I'll be right back. No.
It's awesome. I've been wanting to do keto because there's a lot of hate around it. And so I wanted to find someone. I really liked your story, and that's why I had messaged you for an episode, because there's been a lot of hate on it. And I think, like, you see like the guy from Jersey Shore on it and stuff like that. So I think people automatically equate anything to do with like reality TV, and they're like, oh, this is bogus. This is a fad. Right. But even him, like, I'm not even hating on him. He looks great. I'm like, if he found a way of life that works for him and keeps him in shape, and he's like a Chippendales dancer, like, do you, boo?
A happy human is a good human. So
I might check out one of those Chippendale shows one day. You never know.
You know.
But people are so quick to just like hate on stuff sometimes, and I don't know if it's out of boredom or jealousy or I don't know. But I was like, I want to dig into this rabbit hole and see what like a real, just average run of the mill lady, like, what was your story? Why did you do it?
Right. Yeah, I mean, it helps. I have, I think, I don't know, I don't really keep track of my follower count. I think the last I checked, I have about 30,000 followers on Instagram.
Hey, girl.
And that's since I started my account back in 2018. So, I mean, but I've talked to many, 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 many women who are frustrated, who are, finding that what their approach to health and wellness is not working. And, hey, if you ever have questions, reach out to me and I'll get back to you when I can, but I will get back to you, I promise. But, hey, I mean, I'm all for helping people, and, it's a scary road when you decide to go down, some what seems like untraveled territory.
A major lifestyle change,
Yep, exactly.
So have you you have this very public page with 30,000 followers. Do you ever get like Keto Hate?
Oh, of course. I mean, I had somebody comment on one of my like way older pictures last night. I saw it come through, and the person was like, "You'll heal as long as you come off of keto." And I was like, "But I've healed so much on keto. Why would I stop?" Like I feel great on keto, and it actually helps me to pinpoint any medical issues I've got way easier being on keto. So, why would I stop? So I mainly ignore those comments. Those comments generally get deleted, but Yes. Pretty much on the daily, there's always hate about keto.
I always find it so funny. I'm just like, if a person finds something that works for them, that makes them feel good, and it's keeping them healthy, like, I understand if you're like, and you don't even need to be hateful about it. It's more of a concern. Like, if you see someone that's like really not eating much, or, you know, they're doing it in a very unhealthy way, then that's different. You can voice your concern.
Exactly.
But in a comforting way. I'm like, hey, I'm concerned about you. You're eating like 6 olives and calling it dinner. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not good.
And I actually saw, I can't remember her name, but I was following it was a weight loss page, and she actually ended up having to go to therapy and like rehab because she ended up going like the opposite direction, becoming almost anorexic. She got so obsessed with the weight loss that it like started to consume her.
Yeah, some people, I've seen that happen where, and not really in the keto community, but a lot of women, I'll see that happen where they'll lose weight and then it's not enough weight, and then they want to get even skinnier than they thought they could get, and then next thing you know, they're going down that path, and that very not that for any woman.
Yeah, it's set. I was discussing this in my last episode where you have to be really careful with that body image, and that especially woman to woman support. I feel like we need to work on lifting each other up more and just not being so obsessed with like that size, and more being just what's healthy. Like, get to where you're healthy and you're happy. Don't focus so much on a pant size or a weight.
Exactly.
Because 140 will look completely different on different women.
Yep, it's going to look different on every single body type.
Like, I remember in high school, I was my junior year, I got up to like 155, which for me at the time was like the heaviest I'd ever been. I felt so gross. And now I'm like, I wish. But I was 155, and I remember feeling so bad about myself. So I started getting really into healthy eating, and I did it the right way. I just started watching what I was eating.
Yeah.
And, changing out certain meats for different meats and just stuff like that. Little changes. I cut out soda, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And in that, I got down to 125, which is like the skinniest I've ever been. And I look back at photos of myself, and I actually almost looked too skinny. Like, it didn't fit my head. Like, my head looked too big.
You had bobblehead going on.
And I was like, I remember being so proud to get to that weight. But I look back at pictures, and I'm like, but I didn't look healthy. Like, it didn't look like it fit me.
Right.
I think my healthiest, like, where I looked good and I felt good, I was about 140. And so, like, I looked okay and I felt okay, but I wasn't overly restrictive on anything. I didn't feel like I was having to do this, that, or the other.
Yeah.
So I feel like, especially women, we have a bad habit of like being really, really hard on ourselves. And we got to learn to just be more happy and accepting and loving of ourselves. And it's okay to want to better yourself, but do it for the right reasons, and don't become so obsessed that it becomes
unhealthy.
Yeah, you turn one problem into another problem.
Exactly.
And I think that's one of the things that I like about keto. I tried it for a little bit. I did it for about 2 weeks right before I got pregnant, and then you're not really supposed to do keto with pregnancy just because you have to get certain nutrients and stuff.
That's another misconception, but
Is
we can
it?
save that for another video. Oh yeah, that's another misconception.
See, I had read stuff like that because of my miscarriages. I got so like paranoid that like I was like, oh no.
Oh, of course. I mean, like, and there's nothing wrong with thinking that way. Like, there's, let's clarify that. But maybe that would be another episode, because it's definitely a misconception, and it's a sad misconception, because so think of it this way. So if keto is healthy enough to cure type 2 diabetes, to calm down PCOS, to help somebody lose weight and feel amazing, then why would it be bad for pregnancy? You see what I mean?
Yeah, I feel it.
So I mean, there's, I'm probably not even the best person to talk to about that. I've never been pregnant, but I know many women who have. I would check out Nisha Berry, Dr. Ken Berry's wife. She just did an entire keto pregnancy, healthy baby boy, no problems.
See, I would have loved to have seen that because I was like right in the middle of all this weight loss, and then I was like, oh man, I gotta.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Like, oh no, I can't do this, and then But yeah, so
I mean, that just shows that we're gonna have you on again, and you're just gonna have to. We're gonna have to keep going down these rabbit holes because there's so many more.
Yes, there's so many.
But I am so happy you were able to come on. I know it's kind of a short episode. We'll have to do another one. Like I said, we got to dive down some more rabbit holes here because there's so much to keto that I think, I mean, we could do many episodes on this if you enjoy being here, of course.
Oh, absolutely. I like being here. I like talking about it. I'm very passionate about it, as you can tell.
I love the passion to it. It's so refreshing to see someone that's so excited about their way of life and you want to share it. And you look, by the way, I don't know why it took me so long to say this. You look amazing.
Oh, thank you.
And
thank you.
You look healthy and happy. And that's just what I want to see in all women. I just want everyone to be healthy and happy, whichever way you find it, whatever works for you. But just, just healthy. I want everyone to just be healthy and happy. It's such a beautiful look.
Exactly. I agree.
So you have an amazing rest of your day. I don't know if it's, well, I mean, you're in Texas, right? So I used to live in Texas. It's always hot in Texas.
Well, today it's actually kind of dreary and rainy, so it's a little bit of a break from the hot.
Dude, I'm so jealous. I live up in the desert in California right now, and it's supposed to be 107 today, so pray for me.
Oh, I know how that feels.
So enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe out there. And absolutely. I can't wait to have you back on.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Bye, Jordan.
Bye, guys.
Hey, guys. I just want to let you guys know that I appreciate every single listen. You guys are totally awesome. And make sure to check out my YouTube. It's Presley Christine Fit. And the Instagram, it's Presley Christine. And of course, the podcast has an Instagram. It's going to be Fit Trends with Presley Christine. And we even have a Facebook page. So make sure to like, share, tell your friends. And we love your support. Love you guys so much. Thank you.